Alright, so let's simplify binding in Angular in just a few seconds. Okay, yeah, binding in Angular is really easy. But before I explain what is binding in Angular 10, let me show you a quick tip here. Right, let me show you just a quick tip here. So imagine in plain JavaScript, when you are coding, writing some stuff in your plain old JavaScript, inside your HTML you may have a paragraph type like you have your paragraph tag here, and then may have some text like I am a paragraph, right? Then inside here you have a ID attached to that paragraph. But inside your javascript.js you may say something like, if you want to manipulate or give have reference to this paragraph here, you may do something like document dot get element by ID. This is supposed to be a small letter, don't worry. Document.get element by ID p here, which is the reference of this p, the paragraph here, dot in the HTML what testing. So what this line actually is doing here is that it is manipulating the text here, right? It is changing the text element right here. So when this thing is what saved and refreshed, the browser refresh this script, the result will be what text change. You see, I am a paragraph here inside the DOM will be changed to what the text change due to what uh the script here, due to the script here, because this guy here is changing this text here into this. So this text here rather what you're gonna what manipulate it, you're gonna rate it, and then what I insert what text change rather here, right? And this guy right here is just a reference of the paragraph here. So inside the browser you may get text change. So why do we actually do that? In JavaScript, maybe you may wanted to manipulate the DOM, maybe input field, you want to assign some placeholders to it, or you want to make it hover. You have to get reference to the DOM and what have access to it. But here is the case. In Angular, we don't do that. We don't do like document or get element by ID and then append some text to it and then change the DOM. No, what we use in Angular is binding. So what is binding actually? Okay, so let's go back and let me answer the question. What is binding actually? All right, so that's a quick demo I just give on it. Binding, you see, remember you have your class, your components, right? And maybe you want to you have some paragraph tag, you just want to change the text of a paragraph, the paragraph every 30 minutes, right? So you may have some property in your component that will with some specific value that would what manipulate that paragraph tag every 30 what minute, right? So that's just DOM 2. And you can also in Angular DOM, you can also pass data from the DOM to what to the class component, the class to the class component, right? Okay, so in Angular we actually have two types of binding, right? Yes, in JavaScript too, we also have two types of binding. You may be thinking we have only one type of binding in Angular by in JavaScript, but no, it's two. We can pass data actually from the DOM. Just say here we are performing one-way binding because we are passing data, manipulating the DOM only here. Why? Only inside the script here. The JavaScript file will only what change here. But here, no data is what being through from what here to this what element right here. So if you want to let a DOM manipulate some variable here, you can set a function, and when a certain button is clicked, some input value will change the value inside what that variable. Great, that's great. All right, so that's basically that what I just showed is two-way binding, right? But in Angular we have two types of binding. We have one-way binding and two-way binding. So what is the difference between each? Okay, let's take the one-way binding first. Okay, so you can see what we mean by one-way binding is data flow from component class to the DOM element only, right? So let's say you may have your component, and inside that component you have a paragraph tag. You only want to change that paragraph, the text inside that paragraph tag based on some property inside your component, right? So you want to change that paragraph tag every 30 seconds to that property, right? So here the property inside this or this component class, every 30 seconds is going to what? Change the DOM element, the text of the DOM element. So that's what we call one-way binding. You can see here data is only flowing from what? The component class into the what? The DOM element, and there's no data flowing from the DOM element to what? To the component class. That's what we call one-way binding. And again, don't worry, I'm gonna show you how it's really easy. In the next video, I'm gonna give you a practical overview of this. It's super easy. Don't worry. If this is your first time of hearing it, don't worry. Nothing scary. You're gonna see it really easy. So let me talk about the next type of binding. The other type is called two-way binding, and for that you can see data flow between both the DOM element and the component class. So here, let's say you want to manipulate the DOM here, right? The element here, maybe a paragraph tag here. So this we can change the text here based on one property, the value of one property what inside this component class, right? So we can change it right here, right? Either based on time after 30 minutes or whatever. And here too, let's say we have and inside this component class, let's say we have what do you call it? Let's say we have another variable or property inside this component class. So what we may do is that, and we want to change this property after every 30 seconds, right? Based on some input value inside the DOM. So we can what we can do is we can trigger a function, or we use something called ng binding or form reactive form, or in Angular we have other ways of performing two-way binding. Don't worry, I will show you, but I just want to give you an overview of how binding works in Angular. So in two-way binding, we can send data from the component class to the DOM element, and we can also send data from the DOM element into the component class, right? It's pretty simple. Just the trick here to take is that DOM binding is just a way of manipulating the DOM. It's a way of manipulating the DOM. When you talk of the DOM, it's just the element inside the browser. So it's just a way of manipulating the DOM element inside the browser based on the component properties or methods inside that class. So, and also because we have two-way binding, we can also manipulate some properties or methods inside the component class based on some values in the DOM, right? All right, so really simple. Okay, that's Angular for you. So in the next video, I'm gonna start and show you some basic other types, how we work with one-way binding and two-way binding. It's really easy. So see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more easy videos like this. See you in the next time. Have a wonderful day.